I have some cool news when it comes to Hedera, in my opinion. We take a look at this right here. According to the Cointelegraph, Voltic and World Gemological Institute to tokenize $3 billion in diamonds and gemstones on the Hedera network. I think this right here is absolutely fantastic. But for some people who may be wondering, okay, what's Voltic? Voltic is a cutting-edge luxury fintech platform. Now, I've never heard about this before, but it's pretty cool seeing this happen when it comes to, again, Hedera. And I think it's a step in the right direction. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, who cares about gemstones or all this type of stuff? Well, I think there's some potential here. For instance, according to market research, the global gemstone market was valued at $32.6 billion in 2023, and it's expected to reach $57 billion by 2033. So it's still a ways away, but I still think it's great news nonetheless because it shows that the trajectory of the gemstone market is positive. And again, Hedera potentially having some associations with that, maybe in the future, maybe even better than this, right? I think this right here, again, is massive. Now, people may think, okay, it's kind of boring. It's not the best news of all time. Well, I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh yeah, it's the most interesting news ever, but I still think it's a good step in the right direction nonetheless when it comes to Hedera, because I think as more and more news does come out when it comes to Hedera, it really does add to the positive sentiment, because oftentimes people kept thinking for the longest time possible, I'm not talking about after HBAR has done very well, much like I predicted, but I'm saying previously in the past, people kept saying, okay, HBAR, the price is doing bad. That means Hedera is a bad project. Well, that couldn't be farther from the truth, because when it comes to Hedera, it is rock solid. And again, people may think that, oh, only good news needs to happen when it comes to Hedera, like the most interesting news of all time. But that's not going to happen every week. It's not going to happen every month. It takes time for stuff like that to happen. But even the little news, like for instance, something like this, which I don't think is the most interesting, I think this right here is kind of like a snowball effect where it just incrementally increases it. And eventually, we have this amazing tidal wave where a lot of people do believe in Hedera. And it's not like HBAR is doing bad either. It's pumped again by a lot, much like I predicted. But $3, that's still my price target for HBAR during this bull run. People may think that, okay, Hedera can't do that because the fundamentals are bad. Well, I disagree. If layer 1 blockchains like Solana, like Ethereum, people also love BNB, if people like stuff like that, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a market as well, maybe even potentially better, who knows, when it comes to a directed acyclic graph, because people oftentimes, they look for the next best thing. Like for instance, people love blockchain technology because it's revolutionary, it's cool, it's interesting, it's different. But when people take a look at a DAG, which is a directed acyclic graph, which is exactly what Hedera Hashgraph is, arguably it's a lot better than traditional blockchain technology. I think it's only fair to assume that this is the next step in the right direction and the next thing that people latch onto. Because again, after all, people like the next big narrative. They want to look for the next big quote-unquote story, if that makes sense. And I think this does fit the bill. A directed acyclic graph, it's not too radical, but then at the same time, it's a lot better than traditional blockchain technology. Typically consumes way less energy, usually very scalable. Also on top of that, it's lightning fast. Not to mention, per transaction on average, Hedera uses less energy than Solana. So when people take a look at something like that, they love Solana, they say, hey, it's energy efficient. Well, this is as well. Not to mention, you take a look at Hedera's native services can reliably scale up to 10,000 transactions per second and even beyond. So the way you take a look at it is that this is pretty much going to be the next big thing. Hypothetically, only time will tell. We're seeing a glimpse of it as of right now, but I think it's about time Hedera is beginning to be considered as one of these big players, because oftentimes people like Bitcoin, of course, Ethereum, Solana, BNB. But again, when it comes to Hedera, it doesn't really have that reputation yet, but I think it's about to, because you take a look at the amount of exchange listings that HBAR has. It's absolutely fantastic. Listed at a bunch of major exchanges. And I think this, if anything, also gives validation for Hedera as a project, because it showcases that usually these large-scale exchanges, they do their due diligence before they list something. They don't just do stuff out on a whim. It's not some random nonsense exchange. Usually, in some cases that kind of do this, if you take a look at HBAR again, listed in some real deal exchanges, they do their research. And I'm not only saying that HBAR is only listed in big exchanges, because it's even listed in some small exchanges. But again, the fact that it is listed in big exchanges showcases that it's a well-vetted project, if that makes sense when it comes to Hedera. And why would it not? I think when these exchanges take a look at something like Hedera, they take a look at the governing council, which includes like Google, for instance, Boeing, Mondelez, Ubisoft, Dell Technologies. I mean, after all, there's 39 members in the governing council of Hedera, which isn't any just random enterprise that is a part of their governing council. It's all real deal entities. So I think when they take a look at stuff like this, it really does add to the complete package of just how amazing Hedera is. People keep thinking that $3 was a pipe dream back then, but as of right now, it's less than a 10x away. So it's not even that far away at this point. Now, I get it. The market cap needs to be a lot larger for it to go there. But I don't see why not, because at the price of $3, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $115 billion. So it's not bad whatsoever. You take a look at, for instance, why do I think this way? According to Crypto.com research, in 2023, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened that year actually occurred on the BNB Smart Chain ecosystem. Now, that's not that great because if you take a look at, for instance, that is slightly over 2 hacks for every 100 that happened again that year actually occurred on there. That's not great. So when you take a look at people saying, oh, BNB is amazing, it's all this, well, I get it. It's good to some people, but in my opinion, that's unacceptable. And if BNB can reach over $100 billion in market cap, why can't HBAR hypothetically do the same, if not better? Also, again, going to over $100 billion in market cap. I just don't see why not. I think that when it comes to Hedera, it's going to be a massive narrative during this bull run. People are beginning to understand how special it is, but I think it's about time when we really gain that massive retail FOMO in a sense that seeing HBAR go to the price of $1 and then $2 and maybe even $3, because take a look at Cardano's native token called ADA. Going to the price of $1 from around 3 cents, it was kind of difficult, but $2, $3, that felt very easy. It's because growth beyond a certain point, it sometimes feels a little bit exponential. So I think once HBAR goes to the price of $1, people at that point, they're going to be like, whoa, $2, just a 2x away. And at that point, $3 is just within reaching distance. So the way to take a look at it is that HBAR, it does have a bright future ahead. And why would it not? There's currently over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research. That's more than ever before in history. Also take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption. I think this burn could be very special. I'm just, at this point, in cruise control mode because I've accumulated HBAR for a very long time now at this point. And anything for me really is just a bonus at this point. But you know what? Still, even despite that, I'm still going to be accumulating more HBAR as much as I possibly can on a consistent basis, even though I think about it as a bonus. But still, I'm going to do it anyways because I do believe that there's still better days ahead. And people may think, okay, less than a 10x to go to the price of $3, that's so bad. But for me, I don't see why that's bad. You know, even if, let's say, HBAR were to go to the price of $2, like let's say at that point, I would still accumulate HBAR because, you know, instead of me having that cash sitting in a bank account, I'd much rather have it do something. Like even if it can do like 10%, that's still so good. So I'm going to still be accumulating HBAR. And again, $3 during this quarter and wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace. Bye.